Hello, new AP Psych students. Welcome to Psychology. I'm sure you're wondering if you're prepared for AP Psych and perhaps you're worried you won't be able to pass. Don't worry, I was too, which is why I created this helpful guide for how to succeed in AP Psychology. In Mr. Barr's class, you have vocabulary note sheets due for each unit on the day of the test. Each unit has one quiz and one test, a couple of days apart. I recommend working on the vocabulary as Mr. Barr is going over the presentations because they have a lot of information you need. If you want to take the information in and leave the note-taking for homework, that's okay too, but I heavily recommend doing the notes in segments in that case, as it can take you hours to complete and it can be hard to do it in one go. Also, even though the notes are due on the testing date at the beginning of class, it would be in your best interest to finish them before the quiz so you have a better grip of the material. Mr. Barr also assigns reading out of the Advanced Placement Psychology book. The content of the book is pretty close to the content you'll be absorbing in class, so you might take a glance at the book and think you don't need to read it since you're already familiar with the material. I get that. Some people learn better from lectures than reading, but I've also found that reading your assigned material the weekend before the test or before you go to bed might help you remember little details. Another resource you have access to is College Board course material. In my experience, the videos are super useful for things that aren't necessarily covered in class but are definitely on tests. The areas covered in AP Psychology are Approaches to Psychology, History of Psychology, Research Design and Methodology, Biological Basis of Behavior, Sensation and Perception, Learning, Memory, Cognition, Language Acquisition, Motivation, Emotion, Stress, Human Development, Personality, IQ, Psychological Tests, Social Psychology, Abnormal Psychology, and Treatment for Mental Disorders. Overall, I find it most important to remember what parts of the brain do different things and who has done what. Have they founded an approach? Remember them. Have they had a theory? Remember them. If they made a test or a developmental chart, it is very important to remember them. All of the tests, including the AP test, are a huge fan of asking you who did what. The different approaches are also important to remember, but those are pretty straightforward, and I think you'll get the hang of them with no trouble at all. When it comes to the AP test at the end of the year, here's what you need to know. You have 110 minutes to complete 100 multiple choice questions, and 50 minutes to complete 2 FRQs, which have a lot of different little parts. Don't be afraid to brain dump on the test. Write down who did what or whatever you know your brain could suddenly forget when you open the test, so you don't come up blank later. Also, don't doubt yourself. I lost a question because I thought the answer was too obvious and changed my choice at the very last minute, so don't make the same mistake as I did. Statistically, people who changed their answers were more likely right the first time. Also, bubble as you go along and bubble fast, or you will run out of time. AP Psychology is a fun class, and passing it and the AP test are easily doable, as long as you use your time wisely and pay attention in class. You can do it. Good luck!